Welcome to the Nerd Party.
It's not working.
Well, how long since you've cleaned the heads?
The what?
The heads. Do you have any alcohol?
To drink?
What? No, to clean it. Check the tracking.
The rental place closes in 2 hours.
Shut up. It's working.
Time for a retro perspective.
Hello and welcome to Retro Perspective, the show on the Nerd Party where we take a look at all of the movies released 25 years ago this week. But we're not looking at that
Right.
Sinbad movie that came out 25 years ago this week.
No.
Although I feel compelled to watch it.
You may. You very well may.
But we are going to look back at the past year, 1994, and give our favorites for the year and all that good stuff.
Yeah. We definitely, it's been a long journey getting from there to here. Been a long road, but our time is finally here. So, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we watched a lot of movies from 1994, you know?
We sure did.
It's hard to keep up with the movies from 2019, and then we added this on top of it. And I still haven't watched Dolomite. I know.
Wait, the original Dolomite or Dolomite?
I watched the original. I didn't watch the new movie. Dolomite is my name.
Because I've been sick and I was able to do a whole, I was just like sitting there watching movies. I did catch up on Dolomite is my name, and I can recommend it. And I can say also that it gives a new appreciation for how to approach the original Dolomite. Because
Well, that's good because it needs it.
Well, yes, it does. It's a bad movie. But it becomes more enjoyable because if the movie is in fact portraying that what wound up being the intent behind it, it's like, okay, all right, it's actually a little bit better than I thought it was, sort of thing.
Okay,
so
all right.
Different than The Room. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Did you watch? I know you said you watched Six Underground. Did you watch The Two Popes?
I have not watched The Two Popes. No.
Okay. All right. No. I need to watch Dolomite is my name. I need to watch Dumbo, and I need to watch the Martin Scorsese Bob Dylan documentary.
Yeah. I was going to say The Irishman. No.
Nah, I saw that.
So did I. I saw that. But I also I got to get to Marriage Story, which has gotten a lot of praise.
Yeah.
Watch
The Two Popes first.
I don't know.
Substantially better.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway. So, okay, well, should we take a look at 1994 and our top 10?
Let's definitely look at 1994. But the thing is, like we knew we were going to come back. We were going to talk about our top 10 and everything. Shouldn't we talk about our top 10 and then like put like a little asterisk where it's like accepting Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption and all of that? Because the thing is, I can already tell you that even though I didn't revisit Shawshank Redemption, it's in my top 10. Pulp Fiction's in my top 10. Forrest Gump's in my top 10. Tell me something else that I'm overlooking that...
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be the case, but I mean, I think that's part of it is like being like, look at this year. And also, I mean, like a lot of those movies that you mentioned are in my top 10, but there's some which are decidedly not.
Yeah, very true.
I'm a big fan of like not diluting like best of year or best of decade lists. Like people are like, here are my 100 favorite films of the teens, and I'm like, yeah, really? Like I had trouble making a list of 10. Not that I'd only like 10 movies, but it's like I want this to be like elite, like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's I don't know. So I have no problem with numerous established masterpieces being in my top 10.
Okay, perfect then.
Okay.
Because we've locked up several spots then in the top 10 just coming out of the gate. So
yeah. So should we start? We'll start with like number 10, work our way up to number 1. And if one of us has something higher, we'll skip it and come back to that later on.
Sure.
That sound good?
Yeah, that works. All
right. What's your number 10?
Well, I mean, honestly, because the thing is, I have everything, in a list, And
Okay.
so
Well, you're working on that. I'll give my number 10.
go ahead, give your number 10.
Actually, I know that this isn't going to work because my number 10 is going to be higher on your list. So we're going to have to skip over it to get to your number 10. But
Go on. Give me your number
Okay.
10.
my number 10 is The Shawshank Redemption.
It would be higher on my list. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, figure out what your number 10 is. While you're figuring out what your
No.
number 10
Let's
is.
you know what? Let's go through your list. Let's go
Okay.
through your list, and then anywhere where I have a variance, I can answer to it because I have a feeling we're going to have some overlap here.
Okay. So should we talk about The Shawshank Redemption or not?
Let's talk about Shawshank Redemption.
We'll touch on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Shawshank Redemption. It's a good movie.
It's a terrific film.
Yeah. It holds up for me. It's weird. It's not one, like I know that this movie, especially now, like it wasn't so much at the time, but especially now, it's become like this classic. It's a masterpiece. It's a thing that everybody, and I guess I've always really appreciated it and everything, but I've never put it on that pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, yes, it makes my top 10 of the year, but it's not a movie which I revisit. There's people who, they watch it every single time it comes on TNT,
Right.
which is like every week or whatever. Like, I don't do that. I saw it in the theater. It was probably the first time that I saw it in like 5 or 6 years. And I probably won't watch it again for another 5 or 6 years, but it is very skillfully made.
Yeah.
And, the story is great. The performances are great and everything, but it doesn't reach that elite level that it does for everyone else.
It reaches the elite level for me specifically because, number one, I think that in a storied career with a lot of terrific performances, this is possibly Morgan Freeman's best hour. He is the soul of this film. Like that's the whole thing is when I watch Shawshank Redemption, it's not Andy's movie. It's Red's.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene where Red is at that last parole board hearing and he lays it out there is just as magnificently delivered a scene as Sam Jackson at the end of Pulp Fiction saying, "Truth is, Ringo, you're the like." Those are just masterclass acting moments.
Yeah.
But beyond Morgan Freeman, Clancy Brown as as the guard is the monstrous guard is a delight. He's the type of villain that you love to hate, and he makes me laugh because he's so cartoonishly evil. Like it's enjoyable to watch his evil. And then, and I forget the actor's name, but the guy who played Brooks, like basically the supporting cast in this is so incredibly strong. This is a movie that would have been enjoyable just with two strong leads. But Darabont gets incredible performances from every single person that's on screen. And right down to the guy who, in the flashback is talking, confessing to killing Dufresne's wife and her lover. And it's just... I think that's what raises it to the elite level. So,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want me to give my number 9?
I do.
Okay. It's Clear and Present Danger.
Really?
Yeah. Again, this is kind of a weird one, and it didn't work as well for me watching it this time as it has in years past. But I still think it's really strong. I mean, it's got that cool political thriller thing going on for it. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it's a little bit deeper than that, and I mean, there's this, it packs quite a bit of a punch. And I think that it also has this kind of, I don't know, intelligence behind it, which is lacking in a lot of these types of movies, as we've seen in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And Harrison Ford is great, of course. So I would put it on my top 10. Yeah.
I'm going to differ with you. I especially on this rewatch, I had a higher opinion of it in my memory. And then watching it this time, there were just enough moments where I just drifted out of engagement with it that just didn't work for me as well. And so it wound up more like lower middle of the pack for me for 94 this time.
Okay. All right. And that was one where, like, when I watched it this time, I was like, going into it, I'm like, this is probably going to be higher on my list than I thought it would be, and then I watched it and I'm like, nah, I think it's going to be lower. It's not going to make my list. And then looking back at, the rest of the stuff for the year, it's like, yeah, this, even though it's not as good as I remember, it's still better than a lot of this other stuff,
Fair enough.
So, all right. Number 8, I guess you could say this is kind of, I don't know, and not a guilty pleasure, but maybe subjective more than objective or something. Star Trek Generations.
It definitely is.
Maybe, but at the same time, I mean, it does take me to like a warm and fuzzy place that most of these movies don't.
Fair.
And when I look at, things like, let's say, Clear and Present Danger and Shawshank Redemption, I mean, I'd rather watch Star Trek Generations than those. And as much as it does have a bad reputation and as many flaws as it may have, there's a lot of really good stuff in there too. I still say it's better than All Good Things, that sort of thing. And it's definitely up there in terms of Star Trek movies for me. And I think it's reasonable for me to put it at number 8.
Okay. And I will let you. I will not stand in your way. Not at all. Yeah.
All right. Number 7 is a movie which was the biggest blind spot of the year for me, and something which I finally just caught up with yesterday. So I felt like kind of bad about putting it on my top 10 list, because it's like, wait, how can I do that? Because I just watched it yesterday. I haven't had 25 years to sit and think about this. But at the same time, why did I even bother watching it if it didn't have a chance to end up on my list?
Yeah.
And that movie's Hoop Dreams.
I'm so glad you saw it finally. I'm so incredibly glad you finally saw it. Did it live up to the hype?
Yeah, I pretty much did. It's obviously, it's this great story about these two kids and everything, and the struggle of their lives, and speaks a lot about the world that they're living in. It's not so much about, it's about their struggle, but it's not so much about them as it is about the system and the world that they're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that I thought was really interesting and well done. And the other thing, just from like a personal level, and I think one of the things which made me really be able to relate to it so much is the fact that this all took place right in my backyard. I mean, like right in my backyard. Like, there's the whole thing where they're like, oh, these kids are living on the west side of Chicago, and then they're going to high school in the suburbs in Westchester, and they have to take, public transportation, and it takes them 3 hours round trip. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say that in order for them to get to school, they would literally have to pass by the house that I was living in at the time, like that's how close this was. I mean, the filmmaker lived in the same town that I did, it's and because of that, because like everything there was recognizable to me, every school that they talked about, every, place that they visited and stuff like that, it really did, I think, impact me more than it would have if it had just been sort of this far off place. Like, let's say it all took place in DC, it would not be as relatable as it is to me. And because of that, like we were like looking stuff up on Wikipedia and seeing like, oh, that guy was arrested like 2 blocks from our house a couple of years ago, like that sort of thing. Like,
which is even more heartbreaking when you think about it, right?
Yeah. But it worked really well for me. Yeah.
And 94 was definitely, a year that dealt with, plenty of sports and movies and stuff like that. And, basketball was on the mind, even of William Friedkin back in 94. So,
with White Men Can't Jump.
No,
right?
Blue Chips.
Oh, yeah. It was Ron Shelton who did White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So number 7.
All right.
Surprise for me, I guess. not that I was surprised, but
No, I'm
a
thrilled
late
that
edition.
I'm thrilled that you saw it. And I'm thrilled that it resonated because that is a film that really sticks with you. Really sticks
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6 is Speed.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah. Again, it didn't work as well for me this time. Most movies that I watched did not work as well for me as they did over the years, but I mean, I think that's kind of that thing they talk about, like, why is it that the good old days are always whatever year you graduated from high school? I mean, that's just the way it works, right? So, yeah. But I mean, still, the action and everything in this movie, top notch. Certainly, star making performances for Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and fantastic action movie.
And one of 2 terrific supporting roles from Jeff Daniels this year.
What was the other one?
Oh, you know full well what the other one was, Mike.
Okay, all right.
You know
I was
full well.
Just hoping it was something else.
No.
Whatever.
No.
Okay, number 5, True Lies. Another one which didn't quite live up to whatever, but I still think this movie is pretty great. Some of it is a little dated, for sure, very dated now. But God, James Cameron knows how to make a movie, even when it's just a little insignificant James Bond type farce,
This definitely didn't hold up for me on the rewatch particularly well. It's not bad. And Bill Paxton, like, no matter what, Bill Paxton and Tom Arnold, you want to talk about supporting roles that, help power a movie. They help power True Lies. And, and that takes nothing away from Jamie Lee Curtis, because this was really the movie that sort of like reinvigorated her career, after years of sort of being there, but not really having a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just extremely well made trash, which I don't say that in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like Cameron is known for making these like finely crafted movies, which have, sort of like perfect structures and everything like that. And in this one, it's just like kind of like what you would expect from like an Arnold, your typical Arnold Schwarzenegger, but made by like one of the greatest filmmakers in the world. I think that's a really cool, I don't know, fusion or something.
It was a way of getting some stuff out of his system before he went on and made Titanic.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. And here's where I feel like we're getting into the really good stuff.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Ed Wood.
Oh, yeah. That's an excellent film.
We were just talking about Dolomite Is My Name, and that's the same writers doing kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to watching Dolomite Is My Name so much, because, I mean, they did such a fantastic job with Ed Wood.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Batman and Batman Returns, but if I, try to look at Tim Burton's filmography from like a logical perspective, I have to say that this is his best movie, right? It's got to be.
I have not watched it in many years, but I have a very pronounced soft spot for Big Fish. I know that I tend to be in the minority for that. But I really enjoy Big Fish, and I still have tremendous fondness for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, because I think that's just a comedy classic. But then I also like Pee-wee's Playhouse. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, like Ed Wood is definitely more in. It's a more natural movie for Tim Burton. He's much more at home doing Ed Wood than he is doing Batman. And I think Batman Returns is the product of the guy who wants to make Ed Wood being forced to make another Batman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. Now we're we're getting more and more into the.
I have a feeling I know where we're going, but yeah.
Number 3. I don't know. You might be surprised, honestly, by the last 3 here.
Okay.
Number 3, Natural Born Killers. I mean, I've loved this movie ever since I've seen it, but my love for it has only grown. This is one where, like some of these others, like True Lies and stuff like that, my opinion has diminished over the years. For Natural Born Killers, my opinion has only gone up for this movie. Every time I watch it, I'm just amazed at how they made it. I cannot figure out how they made this movie. The editing is so amazing, and the photography is so amazing, and it's so relentless. And my God, I mean, it's an exhausting experience, but it is fantastic.
It definitely makes an impression. I will agree with you there. For sure, it makes an impression.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, you got to keep in mind, as we said in our discussion, like back when it came out, like I had the soundtrack. I saw the movie more than once in the theater, but it doesn't, over time work as well. And I just soured on it over time. Although I still think that the soundtrack, as produced by Trent Reznor, was an absolute work of art. And well worth the listen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, number 2. Now, I don't know. We'll see. You may be surprised by this. Number 2.
Yeah.
Clerks.
Okay. Wow. I am surprised that it's not number 1.
I know, right?
Lie.
I'm surprised that it's not number 1.
I won't lie.
I mean, this is a movie which is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I can stress how important this movie is to my life, right? Like, it was formative for me. Like, it showed me like what could be done. It showed me what was being done. It exposed me to like indie cinema for the first time, but it also like exposed me to the idea of making movies. Like, it took away that sort of like abstract idea of like, oh, this is something which is done by thousands of people in Hollywood with millions and millions of dollars and special effects companies and everything like that. Like, a movie can be a couple of guys sitting around a convenience store, and you can tell a story that way. I know it sounds very basic, but that's what it was, and the impact of that. I mean, you could maybe say like, well, Natural Born Killers, is more skillfully made or something like that. But I don't think that we should diminish what it was that Kevin Smith did with this movie, because even though it was amateurish and stuff like that, he did have a style. He did have a voice, which was unique, and which was extremely influential, not just to me, but to a generation, really.
Yes.
And I think this movie holds up. I go back and forth. This may be his best movie. Chasing Amy may be better. I'm not sure. But it's one of these two. It's a masterpiece.
So what's your number 1? I got to know.
Well, I mean, I think you probably figured it out, right?
No. What's your number 1?
Seriously?
Dumb and Dumber. It's Dumb and Dumber. Spoilers. No. Surprise, everybody. He wound up loving Dumb and Dumber. He thought about it after I talked to him.
No, unfortunately, no. Dumb and Dumber did not. I mean, when I sat down to watch Dumb and Dumber, nothing would have made me happier than to put that at number 1 on my list. If that would have been better than this movie, it would have changed my life. And that's what I'm looking for when I watch a movie. And it didn't happen with Dumb and Dumber, but it did happen with this movie, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It defined movies for like a decade at least, or 2 decades, maybe 3, maybe up until now.
Yeah.
It changed everything. And I mean, what else is there to say about it? It's Pulp Fiction.
People talk about, and rightly so, the first time they saw Star Wars in the theater, or the first time they saw this. I can still remember the first time, all right, everybody be cool. This is a robbery. And words I can't say on the show and everything. And then that guitar strike and just Pulp Fiction coming up on screen and just almost breaking out into laughter and saying, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be so good. And sitting there for the entire time, just spellbound. And then revisiting it for 94, it amazes me because I keep expecting to go back and revisit Tarantino movies and be like, well, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Nope. Like I can't. This is what's frustrating is, Joey gets another mention because, he's been mentioned so many times as we talk about 94, but he kind of hates that I'm such a Tarantino fanboy. But honestly, if anybody has earned my love on the level of Tarantino, like it's Nolan and Lucas and Tarantino. Like it's a name that gets me in the movie theater. New film from Quentin Tarantino. Okay, all right, sure, I'll see it. We had a little bit of a rough spot around Kill Bill Volume 1 and Death Proof, but we worked it out. And the love endures. So yeah.
I just showed my family their first Tarantino movie,
What?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And,
Wow.
They all liked it quite a bit, and but this is his masterpiece, right? Pulp Fiction.
I mean, the thing is, you got this is his statement. This is such an artistic statement. Everything springs from this. You see the seeds of everything he's going to do from here on out. Everything, every aesthetic that he's going to embrace, every trick of storytelling that he's going to try is starting here. And so, is it my favorite? No, it's not even my favorite Tarantino film, but it is like I watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Hateful Eight or even Death Proof. And I'm like, oh, yep. Okay. Like you can see his growth. It's a lot like Nolan. Like if you go back through Nolan's work, you can watch, Inception and then, The Dark Knight and The Prestige and all. And you're like, oh, okay. That's where he taught himself that trick and that's where it came forward. But then you can go all the way back, to Nolan, go to Memento, and you're like, there it is. It's all his roadmap is laid out on how he's going to mess with everything right here. And that's what Pulp Fiction is for sure. Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah. Even I don't think Dumb and Dumber is better than Pulp Fiction.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, what about your list?
Okay.
What's your number 10?
This is what's going to be tough. Okay. Because we do have so much overlap. Okay.
That's fine. We can, whatever,
right.
we'll deal with it.
Well, I'm going to start from top down because I have a 4-way tie for first. Okay. And it's Hoop Dreams and it's Shawshank and it's Pulp Fiction and it's Forrest Gump. So like tennis,
you can't do a 4-way tie here. You got to pick
I just
one.
did.
There can be only one.
It's magic. I just did it. I just did a 4-way tie for number. Okay, fine. You're going to force me? You're going to put my feet on the fire? I got to pick a number one. Then I got to go with Shawshank.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's a horse race between that and Pulp Fiction. Like some days Pulp Fiction, I'll be like, you know what? That's actually a better movie. But Shawshank so profoundly still reverberates inside that it's just, and it's such a moving tribute to the indomitability of the human spirit that it's just, and even to think that the source material that it came from, like the short story that it came from is good, but to think that this film came from that is like next level boggling of the mind. But that's why Pulp Fiction, like I can turn around and argue, well, Pulp Fiction is technically the better film because that's just Tarantino just sat down and just came up with that. And it's like, it's a postmodern synthesis of everything he watched. And it's crazy and imaginative and, insane. But if I'm forced to, then I got to give it to Shawshank and 2 to Pulp Fiction. I would give 3 to Hoop Dreams and I'd give 4 to Forrest Gump. I'm torn because since I didn't revisit Clerks, Am I allowed to put it on my list?
Of course, you're allowed to put it on your list, but I mean, we didn't talk about Forrest Gump.
I love Forrest. You don't love Forrest Gump.
No.
We've established that.
Yeah.
I love Forrest Gump, and I realized what makes Forrest Gump work as I was thinking back on The Irishman. And I love The Irishman, and I love Casino, and of course I love Goodfellas, and they're like a little triptych. They all work together. They're telling American history from a unique perspective, and it was at that point that I realized Goodfellas and Forrest Gump are essentially the same sort of approach to telling American history, where you have a guy and you follow him through the decades and you see these events and these time periods that maybe you remember or maybe you've heard about, and they both go through a march through the 20th century, but they're from two radically different perspectives. And with Forrest Gump, it's definitely the much more touchy-feely and the much more, heartwarming sort of way of telling the story. But I love Forrest Gump, not just because of Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump, and I love the character, and I love what it says about, that anybody is the hero of the story, and they don't even need to realize it, sort of thing. Like to Forrest Gump, his role in these different historical events isn't at all important to him. There's no fake humility. He's just a guy living his life, and history is what happens around him. And like, that's the story of the American experience and everything. And I love it. I love Forrest Gump for that reason. And yeah, even back then, even back before I was a dad, well before I was a dad, the scene at the end when, it's his son carrying on. And like, it's such an incredibly touching scene, and then the feather flying away. Like you never know who you're going to run across, and you never know what they've done or what they're going through. But if you can sit down and just talk to somebody, you can find out that there's something amazing going on all around you. So that's why I love Forrest Gump. So,
okay.
Yeah. And that's why it was, part of my original 4-way tie for number 1, which you made me smash up, you heartless monster. Yeah, but this is the thing, is I love beating up on Kevin Smith just to get a reaction from people who love Kevin Smith. But Clerks does kind of deserve the number 5 spot on my list because of all the reasons you mentioned. And because I also remember watching it and loving it and watching it many, many times. And, just thinking, wow, it was the first movie, I would say, that seemed to be speaking, quote unquote, my language. And I'm not talking about the Star Wars conversation, but Smith has a gift for dialogue, and it's very apparent in Clerks. And that's what powers the whole thing. So,
yeah, you need to watch Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. It's, I think you'd like that one quite a bit.
My journey with Tarantino would be like the mirror universe. Like, my journey with Kevin Smith is the mirror universe version of that. So I'm very reticent to go to a Kevin Smith movie now.
Like, I understand not liking some of his movies. I like all of his movies except for, Yoga Hosers, really. That was a pretty bad one. But, like, I understand not liking some of his movies. I understand how some of them don't work tremendously well. But Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, regardless of what you thought of his previous movies, is a return to form in the sense that, for one thing, it's a bit more, this is going to sound weird, restrained, a bit more polished, but it's also more like his earlier work,
Okay.
So, I mean,
that could get me to watch it. I mean, it's not exactly the most principled stance in the world. I'm not going to like refuse to see it, but it's just not at the top of my to-do list. Sort of thing. So,
all right. So what's your number 6?
Number 6, I'm going to have to give to the Hudsucker Proxy. which
It
I
came close to
find
making my list.
I find to be a delightful movie to this day, and I think Paul Newman is a joy in it. And I didn't get to go see Nobody's Fool, which was our second Paul Newman, but
Hudsucker Proxy is better.
Oh, I believe it.
And I think that it's honestly one of the Coen brothers' best movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Lebowski's number one, of course.
It's sort of a given at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I really like True Grit, and there's a few others, but Hudsucker Proxy is pretty high up there.
Yeah. Number 7, I am going to have to give to Speed, because even though I'm not particularly in love with it, and it is cheesy and it's silly and it's corny, and maybe it didn't work as well for me as it could have. Dennis Hopper's great as the villain, and Sandra Bullock's great. So, and it is still a good action movie. It's still interesting to watch. And I can't not think of The Simpsons with the bus that couldn't slow down. So then I would probably give number 8 to Ed Wood. So we've talked about Ed Wood. Number 9 would wind up going to The Inkwell, which was the movie about a black family that goes out to Martha's Vineyard and sort of the cultural stuff. It's an imperfect movie. There are definitely things that could have been worked out better about it, but I found it to be pretty touching and worth the watch.
It's a bit of an unusual choice. One that I don't think I was even familiar with until we did this series.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then the thing is, my heart, because I'm just going by rankings, at this point, and I love the Santa Claus, and it got a better rating than the movie I'm going to give number 10, because number 10, I have every right to put on my list a guilty pleasure, a movie that most people might not even like, but I have to. Surviving the Game, with Ice-T and Rutger Hauer and Gary Busey, and for Pete's sake, a bunch of people where you look at it and you say, why are you in this movie? You're better than this. But man, it's just, it is an exploitation movie picked up and dropped into 1994. So yeah, fine. I'll give it number 10. Why not? Because if this movie is on and I'm walking through a room, not that this happens in the age of, post-television age or whatever, but if this movie were to be on while I was walking through a room, I would sit down and be like, all right, I'll watch this. Sure. So there you go.
I'm trying to remember whether or not I actually watched this movie.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
Because if you had, it would be in your top 10
I wanted
list.
to see it, but, maybe I couldn't find it or something.
Yeah.
I feel like I watched it, but I don't remember anything about it. Yeah, I guess I didn't see it, I really thought
you should.
I might have.
You really should, because it is cheesy fun. And I believe at the time, and I believe this, Gary Busey's monologue when he's talking to Ice-T at the dinner table ranks up there with some of the most...
No, I did see this. This is the one, it was like the Most Dangerous Game one, right?
Yeah,
and
Ice-T is a homeless guy that they hire up
the street
to hunt.
And
yes.
bring him into... Okay, I did see this.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't make my top 10.
Well, that's a shame. It really shouldn't make my top 10, but you know what? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah. All right, cool.
There you go. Can we have dishonorable mentions real quick for movies that were... Give me your 2 least favorite of the year, or what you thought were the 2 weakest.
Well, the weakest, and I looked at the only one that I gave only 1 star was Dumb and Dumber.
That blows my mind. That blows my mind. Okay, because 1 star is your bottom. You don't go below 1.
Right.
I do the half-star stuff.
Okay.
And I also do 0 stars.
Yeah.
So you never went below 1 star.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so Dumb and Dumber didn't even go for you below. I don't recall if you watched Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah, no, Dumb and Dumber is way worse than Terminal Velocity.
Disagree. You didn't watch Mixed Nuts.
No, I didn't watch that one. I mean, yeah, see, that's the thing is every year I hope that I haven't seen the worst movie of the year, you know?
You didn't watch Double Dragon.
No, I didn't.
Nor
I
the
was
Page Master.
intrigued.
What about the Page Master?
No, and that one might have, topped it, like knowing, seeing the trailer for that, I could see that one topping.
Drop Zone?
I didn't watch that, but I'm sure that I would have liked that one more.
The Jungle Book?
Oh, that probably would have beat it too. There's no way I was watching that.
City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold.
I mean, that would have been neck and neck because I
No.
didn't even like the first City Slickers.
No,
so,
City Slickers 2 would have been North. You would have ranked North.
I didn't see North.
Bad Girls. You would rank Bad Girls above Dumb and Dumber?
Bad Girls was definitely better.
That is incorrect. That is, I'm sorry. Survey says no. Threesome is worse than Dumb and Dumber, for sure.
No, that was way better.
No. On Deadly Ground, featuring Steven Seagal
I didn't see that one.
and Michael Caine. I promise you that's worse than Dumb and Dumber. And the thing is, I say that just to have fun with you. I like Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber's a funny movie. But Getting Even with Dad?
I didn't see that one.
Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp was way better. Yeah.
You give Dumb and Dumber 1 star. I give Wyatt Earp 1 star.
Okay.
So
It's weird. Like I'm going back and looking at my diary on Letterboxd, and there's a lot of these which I'm not seeing, and I don't know if I have to re-examine them or did I forget to put them on there. Have I seen more movies than I thought I have this year?
I think so. I think so. I definitely didn't like. I definitely would put Dumb and Dumber above Beverly Hills Cop 3.
I mean, I didn't like Beverly Hills Cop 3, but yeah, okay.
I'd put it above Cabin Boy.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't like that movie either, but
It was way better than Reality Bites.
no, definitely.
Yeah, it was. It's better than Wolf or Blink or Intersection.
I liked all those more.
In fact, I will outrage you and say it was better than Star Trek Generations.
Oh, I mean, I that doesn't surprise me that you would say that. I think a lot of people would say that. I mean, I understand that most people like Dumb and Dumber.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Where?
the movie which I don't know, liked but didn't. I mean, Deadfall.
Oh, yeah. Deadfall.
That's the Ed Wood of the year, right?
Deadfall is, yes, a special kind of memorable. But the thing is, Deadfall, while being terrible, has one of the most memorable, if not the most memorable, Nicolas Cage performance, in history.
Oh, yeah.
And it's exciting to think that he might revisit the character because I want him to. I really want him to.
Do you think he's going to revisit? I know that they're re-teaming to make another movie, but I don't think it's to revisit. I mean, that would be amazing.
I want it to use Irishman style de-aging, and I want an origin story for this character.
Okay.
Yes. And I want you to bring back Michael Biehn too.
I mean, I would definitely watch that, no doubt, but yeah.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah. Yeah, Deadfall definitely that is a special kind of awful.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt, because there's so, I mean, I just went through the litany there, but there were so many movies that I didn't like in 1994. And it just, I've said it before, and I know you agree with it. I think we both share this thesis, is that people forget that the majority of movies, no matter what the volume, the majority of movies that come out kind of stink.
Yeah, everybody remembers the great stuff, right? But I mean, so what? They just announced that like 340 movies came out last year or something, that are eligible for Oscars, right? Like it's like 340 movies or something.
Yeah.
But like, I was talking to someone about this, and they were saying like, if you look at it, like the number of movies which are actually released, like on any sort of substantial level, is about 150, right? So that means like 200 movies which come out in a year, like, are basically so insignificant that they're not even really shown, right? I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad, and obviously there's a lot of movies which are really small and just can't find their market, but there's also a lot of movies like Deadfall, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of things where it's like, oh, we're gonna release that, but no one's gonna go see it. So yeah, it's there's a lot of bad movies. That's the point.
Yeah. But it's I don't
There's a
know.
lot of good ones too, and I mean, those are the ones that we remember. Those are the ones that we revisit. And I mean, you look at it as sort of like, on the whole, 1994, pretty great.
Oh, I mean, you look at the top 10 lists, and it produced some really, really memorable films, and yeah, they're all that makes it worthwhile.
Maybe not as good as 99. Definitely not as good as 99, but maybe more influential. Maybe.
That would be interesting. Because 99, I actually have trouble recalling all the ones from there that would be,
Matrix, Fight Club,
Oh, yeah.
Magnolia,
That's right.
The Limey, The Sixth Sense,
Mm.
Star Wars
Yep.
Episode 1, The Insider, Being John Malkovich.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about The Insider. Man, that was...
Yeah.
Michael Mann is the great forgotten director of American cinema, man. He really is.
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I enjoyed touring through 94. It's been fun revisiting the year and reclaiming the memories of the past. So, sort of thing.
I am going to watch that Sinbad movie, and I am going to take a look at 1995 and at least, try to go through the ones that I would be interested in seeing,
Yes.
maybe not watch one every single week, but watch the ones that I would be interested in seeing and familiarize myself with that, and, just see what it's like.
Yeah. I still have to get back and watch Quiz Show. So,
Yeah, you do. That almost made my top 10.
yeah. My top 10 could be upended by watching Quiz Show. Oh.
There you go. It'd be a 5-way tie. You never know.
Yes.
All right. So, John, where can people find you on the internet when they can't find you here?
I am Kessel Junkie online. Find me on Twitter and Letterboxd, and find me here on the network, co-hosting Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast with Matthew Rushing here on the Nerd Party. And you can also hear me, listening to Bayhem, which is a Michael Bay podcast that Mike did for the Talk Film Society.
You must have your headphones turned up really loud for people to be able to hear you listening to Bayhem.
I have tinnitus because of it, and also just from watching Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go over to Talk Film Society, you can find Bayhem. I'm not sure if it's released for the general public yet, because we dropped them all as a Patreon exclusive first, but they'll be there eventually. Or you can just subscribe, and then you can get them all right now.
Yeah, subscribe, man. Come on.
You can also find me on filmdamagepod.com doing a show called Film Damage. We're posting some stuff there. Oh, we'll have one that you'll be interested in, John. I just showed Max Solo a Star Wars story for the first time. And he gave me his live reaction. It's not a commentary, but we paused it whenever we felt the need, and then discussed what we saw as we were watching the movie.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Check that out. And you can find me on Trek.fm doing Tracks on the Line, where we provide audio commentary for episodes of Star Trek Picard. So,
that's right. That's coming out. Yeah, Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, it is.
On the
it's
horizon.
exciting. Yeah. And you can also find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Mumbles3K.
All right. Well, Mike, you wanna give the sign off one last time for 1994?
All right. As always, be kind, rewind.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.